Today, my guest is Tenny Tolofari. Tenny is a co-founder of Exide Capital Investment LLC, a multifamily real estate investment focused company based in Washington, D.C. And in just a minute, we're going to speak with Tenny about the myth of find the deal and the money will come. And before we get into that, want to remind you, if you like the show CREPN Radio, there are a couple things you can do, and they'd be greatly appreciated. One, you can like, share, and subscribe. And the other thing is you can always leave a comment. We love to hear from our listeners. Also, if you'd like to see how handsome our guests are, be sure to check out our YouTube channel, and that is Commercial Real Estate Pro Network. And also, please consider subscribing to that too. That's funny how those numbers work. The more you have, the more attention you get. So I appreciate your help with that. With that, I want to welcome my guest, Tenny. Welcome to CREPN Radio.
Thank you very much, Darren. Thank you for having me. What a wonderful time to be on the show right now. Appreciate it.
I'm glad to have you, and looking forward to our talk today. Before
Absolutely.
we get started, if you could take just a minute and share with the listeners a little bit about your background.
Sounds good. I might just stick to. Yeah, I came to the United States in 2010. My goal coming to the United States was to come get my master's degree. I had a bachelor's degree in electrical and electronics engineering back in Nigeria. I was born and raised in Nigeria to a family of 7 kids. I'm a twin, actually, with a sister back there. So I came here in 2010 to get my master's degree. Amongst all countries, I decided to come to the state because this is the land of opportunity. So I went to school. I graduated from Bowie State in 2012, and I graduated with my master's in cybersecurity and started doing cybersecurity for companies like Boeing. And presently, I'm a global consultant with Deloitte. And in 2016, I thought, I was achieving my American dream. I brought my mom here to come and visit, brought my baby sister here as well to come and get her master's as well. But in 2016, at one point, I said, you know what, I don't think I want to continue to do this rat race. And that was because I had an injury. I just said, you know what, I think I need to do something differently. And I got approached by a financial services company. And I started learning about finance, and that's how I got into financial services. So while I do my cybersecurity consulting, I have a financial services business background as well. So since 2016, I've been doing that. And then in 2019, while I was doing a presentation at one of my clients' office, I met my partner's wife, which is Leslie. Leslie's wife, gave me audience, said I should come to their home and discuss with them about financial services. And I met Leslie, great guy. We had a wonderful conversation. After we had a conversation for a while about what I came to do, from there we moved on to start talking about personal development, books we were reading, and then we just found a connection. And then from there we said, you know what, let's meet up and start talking about the future. So we started meeting up to have a conversation about money. We started playing the Robert Kiyosaki board game, and we started learning about money. And at one point, he said, you know what, I think it makes sense to just venture into a business together. And that business that we wanted to venture into was real estate. Leslie already had a lot of background in real estate before I met him. I've always had this philosophy by Robert Kiyosaki that says, you create a business and you invest your money in real estate. I've always had that philosophy. And when I met Leslie, I was like, I know what, this is the time to implement. So I and Leslie in 2019, we opened a company called Exide Capital, which is a real estate investment company focused on multifamily, like you had mentioned in the introduction. So since then, it's been an amazing experience. We've met a lot of people. And now, I'm here talking with you, Darren. So that's a little background about me. I don't know if I have to go into details more, but that's it.
No, I appreciate you sharing that. So you and Leslie are partners in Exide Capital, correct?
Correct.
All right. And so tell me more. What is Exide Capital? What are you guys? Is it basically an investment vehicle for multifamily? Are you guys principals? Are you limited partners? How are you participating?
So the intention why we formed the company at first was, you know what, we want to hold on to real estate properties, right? When we started thinking about investing, we said, you know what, maybe we should buy single family homes and, you know, buy them and rent it, because we feel like that's one of the most stable asset class in investing in general. The most wealthy people in the world, where they made their money was in real estate. And we were like, you know what, this is a good time for us to get in and just start buying properties. So in the process of doing that research and doing a bunch of research about what asset class to invest in, we came across multifamily. And we started understanding more about how multifamily works, how, you know, you can come together as a team or a group of people to buy a property. And we were like, you know what, this makes sense. Instead of we trying to do it by our own, on ourselves, on our own dime, we can come together with a group of people where we all pool funds together to buy bigger property. Because the more we're able to scale, the more we're able to win for everybody. So Exide Capital was formed to bring a pool of investors together to go in there and buy apartment buildings, and we manage the property. So we're basically a principal in acquiring these assets in great markets across the country.
Gotcha. So are you investing in any particular markets then, or where are you investing?
Absolutely. So last year we invested in a 192 units apartment with another group in Marietta, Georgia. It's a great Class B property. That was one property we invested in. Right now, me and my partner were looking at other markets. The market we're focused on right now, like we're locked in, is in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're also looking at the Durham, Chapel Hill area in Charlotte and in North Carolina. So the North Carolina market is one market that we built our team, and we're heavily focused on that market right now.
Got it. And I just want to make sure I understood on the property, the 192 units that you're in. Are you the general partner, or are you guys limited partners on that, or how are you in that deal?
So we are limited partners, but we had an amazing opportunity to come in as general partners. And again, if the conversation go in that line of some of the lessons that I've learned in our journey, I'll be able to share you and give an example of how we had a huge opportunity to be a general partner in that property, but we fell short. So, but we're limited partner in that deal right now.
No, can you share with us? I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people understand the terms, and it sounds like you had an opportunity to be a general partner, but now you're a limited partner. If you could share a little bit about that, I think it'd be welcome information.
Absolutely, I love to share this story. So once I and Leslie decided to go into multifamily investing, we did a lot of research. We did a lot of investing in ourselves. We invested in mentorship programs. We invested in building relationship with people that are already in the industry that are doing good. In that process, at one of the events that were one of the group we're part of in terms of our mentorship program, I raised my hands one of those days and say, hey, listen, I'm in the DC area and I'm looking for a key principal or a key sponsor in this area, and I'd like to have a conversation. And before you know, somebody say, hey, I know this guy. This group is a wonderful group in your area. You should go have a call with them. I can remember they gave me about 9 names of key players in the Maryland, Virginia, DC area. And out of those 9, two of those guys picked up my call. One of the company is Viking Capital. And then the other guy said, you know what, I'm just going to invest with you guys, but I'm not going to be any key principal. So I had a meeting with, I and Leslie had a meeting with Viking Capital, and the individual we met is Vikram Ryer. Great, wonderful guy. We sat on the table with him and we had a wonderful conversation. And he saw the passion that I and Leslie have when it comes to this. And he said, hey, listen, if you guys are really interested, we have a deal right now that we have under contract. We're going to be flying to Atlanta, to Marietta, Georgia, to check out the property and do our due diligence. if you guys want to be a part of it, why don't you come with us? We say, yeah, we're in. We booked our flight ticket. Leslie couldn't make it. I flew down, went with them for 2 days due diligence process on that property. And he said, hey, listen, this is a great opportunity. If you guys can come in as general partners and raise equity, that would be amazing. We say, sure, we got this. And prior to we having that conversation, we've met a bunch of people that said they're interested in buying apartments. And remember, our goal is how do we bring people together for us to go buy property, these apartment buildings. And we've met a bunch of people that say they have multi-million dollars to invest and a whole bunch of stories, right? And I'm sure you've heard that where they say, you know, you find the money, the deal, you find the deal, the money will come. We had that notion and we were busy, you know, looking for the deal. And now we have an amazing deal, Class B property, well-maintained property, cash flowing. The upside on that property was about $300 that they have throughout the life cycle of the business plan in the company. So we're like, man, this is an amazing opportunity. Let's take it out there to the people that are interested in it. Now we have this opportunity to come in as GP, raise equity, and come in as GP. Now we went back to these guys that say they have all this money, had conversations with them. They said, you know what, I have money. I'm going to be ready. I said, okay, here you go. Here's the form that, you know, the accredited investor questionnaire. Go ahead and fill it out and send it back to us in Cricket. Cricket. We started getting frustrated. At that point, we started getting frustrated and started going to the people, family and friends we know, and started telling them about it. And they're like, hey, dude, I've never heard about this before from you. I know you as a financial advisor and a cybersecurity expert. What are you talking about real estate right now? It doesn't make any sense to me. And at this point, if I think back, I really don't blame them, right? Because if I've not come before and share with them what I'm working on, and all of a sudden I come up with a $25 million property and I say, hey, listen, I need to give me money. They'll be like, dude, I don't understand what you're talking about. So we learned a great deal from that experience, that, you know, you want to make sure you build a relationship with people, let people know what you're doing. And then gradually those equity will come, and then you continue to find those deals. And once you are at the right position where you have the equity, you find the deals, things will just automatically work out together. So that's one of the big setback we had. So we couldn't raise the capital, and we ended up going in and just putting our own money. Since everybody else says, you know what, I'm not giving you their money. So don't worry, we have our own money. We're going to put it in as limited partner. So that's what I and Leslie did as a company with that deal.
Got it. So you actually lived the myth of you know, you find the deal, the money will come kind of thing, and realize it's yeah. So how many, when you were presented the opportunity to be a general partner, in your mind, how many people did you think you had in your queue that were available and willing investors?
Not a whole lot. I think the big mistake that we made was we were looking for the big people that said they have big money. So we have this lady, she said, hey guys, I see the passion. We actually met her in Boston. We went for a conference down there to say, hey, listen, I see the passion in you and Leslie's eyes. I see you guys have great integrity. I think I want to work with you. I have a couple of investors that could bring up to $2 million into a deal. So if you find a deal, bring it to our attention. And then we had another folk out there that said, you know, he has a bunch of investors, they can bring it up to $1 million. So we had these guys that says they have big amount of equity to bring to the deal. So because of that, we didn't want to go ahead and start chasing everybody else that had maybe $50,000 and $100,000, which is a big mistake. Because if one of those guys says, you know, at this point, it's not a good time, you're completely screwed, right? So we went ahead and, you know, started depending on one or two big, they call them big dogs. And they disappointed us. And at that point, we now said, okay, let's go ahead and start chasing the guys that have $100,000 or $50,000 to invest. And since the concept and every information that we're sharing was new to them, a lot of them didn't find it very appealing to put their money into the deal. So we didn't have a whole bunch. So right now we're doing something completely different, and we're learning from that experience and building our systems and our processes in place to make sure we mitigate that problem.
Gotcha. So, I want to also ask you a little bit about kind of the shock of your friends and family, the response of like, "You're doing what?" Um, can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, you kind of mentioned about they had no idea that you were doing this kind of thing. Can you
Correct.
talk a little bit about that and what you learned?
So in the last 3 years, I've shared with my family and friends, how they can how they can plan their finances, how they can put in different strategies to help them maybe minimize taxes, protect their loved ones, and a whole bunch of different things that has to do with finance. I've not really shared with them real estate. They've not seen me as somebody that's really passionate about real estate. Um, and when I went, me and my partner Leslie, we went to them and I said, hey, listen, we've started opening up this company and now we're looking to invest in 192 unit. It's about $25 million, blah, blah, blah. They were like, dude, you must be smoking something. When did you start talking about, apartments? And at the point I was kind of like, dude, it's me, man. I've been talking about money for a long time now. You guys need to listen to me, um, and all they said was, I understand what you're saying. I understand where you're coming from, but have you done your research? Are you sure this is a good asset class? Why do you think this is an asset class? How they say as you're doing this business, you need to bring your partners. I shared with them my partners. Partners have over 2,400 apartment buildings that they bought and sold. They're medical doctors, blah, blah, property management companies, the best. They're not buying on any of that. They're like, I know you, and you've not been doing real estate for all this while. And if you're just giving me this heads up right now, you want me to give you my money right now, that's not gonna fly. I was hurt, but I went back and I thought about it. I'm like, I don't blame them. If it was me too, I would think about it and I said, dude, I don't understand where you are right now. So what me and my partner were doing right now is to make sure we continue to educate them and let them understand that, our goal is to come together as a community. In my community where I'm from, we have limited mindset, very, very limited mindset. People believe in doing their own thing. Like, I want to be the best cybersecurity expert in the whole US or in my whole community. And when everybody sees me, they want to see me as the big dog. But that's not my philosophy. If we want to be wealthy, we can all come together and invest in the asset class that's very stable and that's recession proof. We can buy it and we can maintain it, and you don't have to worry about it. Exide Capital got that. And you get the returns that you're looking for, the equity that you're looking for. Because me and my partner, we found this vehicle as one vehicle that we can use to help a lot of people and help our families and help the world in the future. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So tell me, what are you doing now to build the, I guess, the identity to where people do recognize you as an investor? How are you, letting them know that you are doing this and kind of educating them so that, the next time or possibly the next time or maybe even the next time you have an opportunity uh, that they're thinking in the mindset, yeah, he's been talking about that for a long time. He I think he knows what he's doing. How are you working on that?
Correct. Thank you very much. That's a good question. So what we went back and did, so me and Leslie sat back, after, we couldn't make the GP part of that deal. We went back and started reviewing what we did wrong. Right? And like I mentioned, people don't feel like we've been doing this long enough, even though we have all these team members that were brought to the deal. So right now we're focused on building our brand, sending out communication, developing materials, and sending it to these guys and just continuing to give them in conversations that we have, continue to let them know what we're doing. Like, for instance, we recently went to Houston, Texas for a conference. We went to Keystone Resort for another conference, right? We're going to be traveling sometime in April. Hopefully this whole crisis go down to our market. While I do all of these, I have conversation with my friends and family, and I let them understand I'm still in the game. I'm still looking at this market. I'm still reviewing deals. I'm still talking to key partners. So gradual education is one key component of it. We're using social media. We have a meetup. We have a Facebook group. So we have all these different avenues that we're using to send the message out gradually. And with time, that information is going to build on people's subconscious, and they will understand that I'm in it not just to make a quick buck, but to build a business to help a whole bunch of investors out there. Like right now, I was talking to one of my friends yesterday. He said he doesn't want to look at his stock right now. And that was a good avenue for me to share with him and let me understand, hey, listen, there are other vehicles out there that you can use to get great return rather than just depending on the stock, because it's really hurting a lot of people like right now in America and in the world.
No, that's a good idea. Do you have any kind of a sense as to the number of, for lack of a better word, touches or kind of a timeline? Do you have any kind of expectations? How long it will take to create this identity where people now think of you and are willing to respond positively to your request, provided they have money?
I absolutely don't have a timeline. I think it gets to a point when somebody looks at what you're doing and they fall in love with it and they like the idea. They want to be a part of what you're doing. At this point, we're not worried about people that we know anymore and say, hey, listen, you must join us. Because one of my mentors usually say, the people you know don't 100% are supposed to support you when you get started. They're not supposed to support you because they love you. They might think that you're crazy. They might think that the ideas you have are crazy. All you need to do is to prove to them that what you're doing, you believe in it, and you're doing it for the long term. And you have their interest, or the people you're working with, their interests at heart, right? So I don't have a timeline, but I'm sure when they see that I'm in it, I'm not quitting. I went back and I saw that a whole bunch of us that started this whole we went to courses together, I went to seminars together, a whole bunch of them, I don't see them anymore. And a lot of them, when they see us, we're still going, and Leslie was still going, they're like, oh man, you guys are on fire. I love what you guys are doing. I'm seeing your article online. I'm seeing the post, man. When you're doing something there, let us make sure that we're aware. So I just think with time, it might be 1 year, it might be 1 month, it might be 2 years, it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years. Right now, me and my partner really don't care. We care about making sure that we get the right set of information and just put it out there. And whenever people are comfortable with being a part of our journey and being a part of what we're trying to do, they will come on board.
It's interesting. As you're speaking, I'm thinking about it and just other conversations I've had with others about this. I think that what I'm hearing from you is that now that you two have committed, you and Leslie have committed, this is what you are doing.
Correct.
And I think as you progress through that and people see that, and there's not this sense of desperation when you're approaching people, but they know that this is what you do. And if not this one, then, keep us in mind next time, or however that is. That really transfers to, the recipient of the message into kind of a trust and a belief that you are committed to it. And it's not as risky if I don't know you and all of a sudden you're asking for money and, you haven't got a track record or any kind of experience in doing what you're claiming to do. So,
Correct.
but no, that's great. All right. Well, so you guys, you're in your the one deal with your own money as limited partners. And
Correct.
how long have you been in that deal?
I think we invested in the deal closed in September of last year of 2019.
Okay. And was that a value add? Are they doing updates, or what's the plan with that property?
Yeah, so it was a value add. It's a property that the owner of the property has gone through, his life cycle, and he's trying to, move it on to the next investor. We had about 46 of for the 6 units that required an upgrade. So basically, what Exide Capital was thinking about doing with Viking Capital as partners was to go in, change the roof, do some landscaping, do some painting, upgrade for the 6 units that have not been upgraded yet, and then gradually increase the rate. As of right now, Viking Capital have started sending out statements. We actually received our first quarterly payment from them recently. And the property is performing. They're beginning to increase the rent, and they've done the roofs of the apartment building, because the roof have never been changed, if I can recollect very well, and a whole bunch of different amenities they wanted to add in the apartment complex to make it better. So yeah, it's definitely a value add.
Got it. And you've had kind of a front seat for the all the inner workings of the deal. Is that have you had that experience?
Yeah, during the time that I played a key role was during the due diligence. That's where I played a key role, where I went there and I met with most of the contractors that are coming in, how they were putting in quotes, and the property management company. Now we have a great relationship with them. Actually, they are the company that are going to be managing our properties, because they manage properties down in the southeast region of the United States. So I had a good relationship with one of the regional manager there, and talked about how they are coming in to implement the business plan. What are some of the things they can do to make sure that the tenants and the people that are in the community are confident with what we say we're going to do with the apartments and stuff like that. So, it was an amazing experience being down there. And that visit alone opened up other opportunities as well. Which, if we have time, I can go into it.
No, what was that? The loan?
Huh?
What was that you said, if you have time?
Oh, I said that visit opened up other opportunities as well.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, I think plugging into the community there and getting to know people, that would be a strong opportunity for you. Well, this is great. I mean, I feel like what you've done, and I think there's two thoughts coming to mind. One is the positive experience that you've had, even though it kind of came short of what you originally thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
You've been able to plug into, and now you're getting this firsthand experience, which I think will likely transfer to the people that you're engaging with now, sharing your experience, and that will create credibility for you. I think the other thing is just that how you're able to kind of tact and realize, I think there's a lot of people out there look at like real estate is just this easy thing. It's like, yeah, you just put the money in and you get other people's money and then you just make money. Yeah, it's great. And but the reality is there is a lot of work.
There is.
This is, especially if you're going to be a general partner and you're going to be the steward of other people's money, there's a tremendous responsibility, and you've got to have your first you have to be connected with them. Second, you have to have a clear through point as to how you're going to take care of their money and make them money. And then you have to be able to operate and pull it off, so it is a process. And I think that anybody that, what's the sad thing about most of life, whether it be the stock market or real estate or whatever, is that people hear the highlight reel all the time. And the people that bought after the 2008 crash and got all these just super cheap deals, and they wrote them up and they made all this money. That's the story that resonates with people, and they all think, oh, I need to get into that. The reality is those times are gone. Although as we speak today, there's the pandemic. I mean, nobody knows exactly how the fallout is, but the economy is essentially running fast, with the exception of this pandemic. And, so we're in different times. And I think you just have to be that much more aware of the times, and if you're in it for the long haul, I believe that you will have success, and people will see that and want to work with you.
Absolutely. That's our goal, to make sure that with time people will understand that we're in it for the long haul, and we have a big vision, and as we go along, we share that vision with them.
Got it. Hey, Tenny, if we could, I'd like to shift gears here for a minute.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to you before we got started, by day, I'm an insurance broker. And
Okay.
as an insurance broker, we do risk management with our clients. And
Correct.
there's a couple of different strategies we consider.
Excuse me.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's a couple of different strategies we consider when we're trying to manage risk. And the first is we ask, can we avoid the risk? And if we recognize that that's not an option, we look to see if there's a way we can minimize the risk. And
Correct.
if that's not an option, then we look to transfer the risk. And that's what an insurance policy is. It's a means of transferring the risk to an insurance company for an exchange of premium, and you get a contract, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, so with that, I've been asking all my guests, and I'd like to ask you too, if you share with us what you consider to be the biggest risk. And just to be clear, I'm not necessarily looking for an insurance related answer,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe risk is everywhere. So if you're willing, I'd like to ask you, Tenny Tolofari, what is the biggest risk?
Well, one of the biggest risks for individual investor, I would say, is one is not getting in the game. Is staying on the sideline, right? Um, because if at the end of the day you're thinking about getting ahead and you're depending on just one asset class to get ahead, you're going to be disappointed from what we're seeing right now, right? The risk is depending on one particular asset class, like the stock market, to build wealth or for retirement purposes or for generational wealth or for your family in general, because your family is depending on you, or you and your spouse are depending on each other for the future, right? So I think that's one big risk. Another risk is speculation, right? Where people think that the market is going to perform at a particular rate, and people not educating themselves about how a particular asset class work, So I think that is one big risk. I would think not getting the game is one big risk. I would think people are not are taking.
No, I like it. If you don't play, you can't win, right? So
Absolutely.
you got to get into the game. Tenny, before we wrap this up, I'd like to ask you, where can the listeners go if they'd like to learn more or connect with you?
So one way to get in touch with us is you can visit us on our website. Our website is excidecapital.com. Excite spelled as X as in xylophone, S as in Samuel, I as in indigo, T as in tango, E as in Edward, capital.com. And we have a Facebook group, which is the exciting world of multifamily investing. And we have a meetup group, which is the Exide Capital meetup group. So these are different avenues. If you're in the Maryland, Virginia, DC area, you can stop by at our meetup. It's hosted every first Monday of the month. Unfortunately, for April, we're going to be postponing that one for now till this whole crisis settled down. But it's like a great community where a bunch of people that are interested in multifamily and real estate in general come together to have conversations. So those are some of the ways you can get in touch with us. Again, that's excidecapital.com and the Exciting World of Multifamily on Facebook, and Excite Meetup group on Meetup.
Got it. And I'll have all that listed in the show notes for the listeners. Tenny, I want to say thanks for taking the time to talk today. Learned a lot, and I hope we can do it again soon.
Absolutely, Darren. I really appreciate this opportunity, and thank you for this platform for at least for us to share our story because we want to encourage people that are looking to get in the game to get started. And if there's any way we can be a resource, we would love to be that resource for them to at least get started and start learning about what we're doing.
All right. For our listeners, if you like this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, the more you know, the more you grow. That's all we've got this week. Until next time, thanks for listening to Commercial Real Estate Pro Network's CREPN Radio.